So hello, welcome to session 2 of Dauntless, titled To Damaris. So the crew of this illustrious and ancient cruiser, the Dauntless, were on Gudrun, where they made contacts, but learned some things. Notably that there's an ancient treasure ship out there somewhere. In the Expanse, they managed to get a sort of astropathic map, but it was also briefly touched by the cyber raven of an enemy psyker. So it seems that they also have the map to some extent. They also got contacted by someone in Damaris who was looking for them to, or anyone to come and help them with an oncoming orc invasion. And then they also brought some pilgrims aboard, I believe. There was also a brief inspection where the inspector was thoroughly terrified, and the navigator was woken from a nap. So it's been a pretty exciting first session. So today, you're making plans to go to Damaris, and that involves a warp journey. So you're in, I would say now, out of orbit of Gudrun, looking to get to the transit point, and then begin the planning and the of the route through the warp towards Damaris. So we need to do some stuff. The first thing is you can try and figure out how long you think it will take. Navigator. So let me see. So you can make a guess as to how long you think this journey will take, Lord Navigator. Use a navigation warp test to try and figure out how long this journey is going to take. Oh, you can't hear us? Oh, that's unfortunate. Pretty necessary.
Andrew can't hear us all of a sudden?
Yeah, he said he couldn't hear us.
That's weird. I thought I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, it's our fault.
Uh-oh. And of course, this is the long section I have planned for the navigator to figure out where the hell you're going.
Yeah, he's gone back to sleep, obviously.
Okay, well, in the meantime,
navigator.
What would you guys be doing? You pulled away from Gudrun now into orbit. What would you be doing to make sure that the ship is like at peak readiness on this long journey?
I would be buttonholing everyone, making sure that they are keeping up to peak efficiency. Are you doing your job correctly? Is everything?
What was the guy called on the bridge?
Marcus.
Marcus.
Yeah. See to it, Marcus.
I say, yes. I don't know how he got this job. He's very nervous, but he clearly has been effective. So I guess he would kind of, as per usual, send some shit rolling down the very long hill. Yeah, you would see kind of, as you do the rounds, everything's been polished up. Nobody is slacking. People know that going into the warp is dangerous, even in the best of conditions, and so people are at ship shape. You would like to go see Ursula, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can make your way down then through the bowels of the ship towards the gun decks, which is where her temple is. One of the laser batteries at the very 4 of the ship, this enormous gun, like the size of a cathedral, basically, the power couplings and stuff for it. That is where they have set up their temple, and you can kind of make your way through the gun decks, where people live in the shadow of these guns their entire life. Whole generations, whole villages live just managing these guns and worship them as the emperor. But you can make your way through all the way to the very tip of the ship. On my overlay there, you can see this huge gun sticking out from the bottom. This is the laser battery, and that's where you would be going. As you kind of get lower and lower through the ship, you would see more and more skulls, skull motifs kind of laid around the place. The skull is already a motif for the Emperor, since he is neither living nor dead on his golden throne. Emperor called him the carrion god. But the skull is a very popular motif of the Emperor. But as you get lower and lower, you see that these are not nearly just like skull motifs, but actual skulls kind of arrayed around. And you come, before you enter this huge area that houses this massive gun, there's actually like an archway made of human skulls through whatever amount of centuries they've lived on this ship. You would see several of the people here who are attending their duties like fall to their knees and put their foreheads to the ground, seeing you come. And one of them, from the ground, like head on the forehead, would ask, "Oh, Lord Missionary, to what do we owe this unexpected pleasure?"
I need to speak with Ursula. A matter of great importance.
But of course, I will bring you to her, if you don't mind, my lord. May I rise?
You may rise.
So he does, but he keeps his eyes firmly planted on the ground. He begins leading you through these like warrens within the workings of his gun. Through, for what's a pretty long time, maybe 15 minutes, he wanders through, and you can see there's like houses and stuff, or like more like a shanty town built down here around this gun, until finally there's a more solid construction of like sheet metal and things like that, with this Aquila, basically the symbol of the Emperor, made huge with skulls, and you are brought into this temple of sorts. And in here there is this woman, Ursula, who runs the death cult of the Emperor, and you can see that she's currently in the process of whipping someone who's tied to a pole. She's got this like hideous like neural whip and just like smashing into the back of this person. You can see like cracked bones and exposed bones beneath the flesh. She just continuously just slashes this person's back.
Now, would she have some title that I would normally address her by, or?
Yeah, I guess it depends. She would call herself Moratat. Put in the chat. Moratat Septimus.
Okay. So yeah, as I'm showing it, I would approach. There'd be an approving, thin-lipped smile on my face as I stand a short distance away, not wishing to interrupt.
Yeah, continues. She takes note of you, but continues the whipping. Some blood like soaks the bottom of your robes as it like sprays, and there's like this rattling sort of cough from the person being whipped. And she continues like working herself up into a sweat until she's out of breath, and the victim is no longer breathing. Tosses the whip aside, and many of these people who are like kneeling around, like it's almost like at a wedding where they're trying to catch the flowers, like fighting over each other to try and catch the whip. As Lord Missionary, a pleasure.
Moratat Septimus, you honor me. May we speak?
But of course, follow me, and she'll lead you into like out of this main temple into like a I don't know what it's called in the church, but like one of the side bits, an alcove, I guess.
Okay, as she leads us away, I'll pause and do some kind of like appropriate blessing over the now dead offering to the Emperor, and then follow after.
Yeah, as you do, you can see like many of these I mean, they barely look like people. Like they live in the dark all their lives, like pale skinned, huge eyes, and they like rush forward, and like you see some of them like licking the blood off the ground as you follow the Moritat. So she brings you into this alcove. There is a sculpture here of the Emperor, but instead of a face, there is a skull. He holds a flaming sword aloft. And as she enters the alcove, she like kneels before it.
If it would be appropriate, I would do the same.
Yeah, it would be.
Then I would do so.
What can I do for you, Lord Missionary?
I'm sure that you have received word that we will soon be underway.
Quite a long trip from what I've heard.
Yes. There are many tasks ahead of us, but there's one that is more urgent than the others. It involves a witch.
Her face kind of snarls up for a second.
Yes, it's one whose presence has been accepted. She's on another ship, but is one that we will probably run afoul of, and we will have the opportunity, I believe, and we should take advantage of it to remove her.
Of course, suffer not the witch to live.
Suffer not the witch to live. I'm hoping that I can count on your assistance if it should come to that.
I have many of the younger warriors here, servants of the Emperor, would be extremely excited at the prospect of witch hunting.
At that, another smile will touch his lips as he nods, and I knew that I could count on you, Moritat Septimus. This is a task that we will not fail in.
No, indeed. With the Emperor's blessing, we shall find this heretic and skin her alive.
Which will be most pleasing. I should return to the Lord Captain. I will be in touch when I have further word.
Of course, Lord Missionary. Yes, you can make your way back outside, and you'll see the body is gone, as are most of the people who had been here. There's just like a sort of slick mess on the ground, and kind of in the shadows, you can hear like some crunching. The temple and back into the rest of the ship.
Yeah, do I see the one that escorted me in here to see her?
Yeah, he's waiting.
Okay, then yeah, I will nod my head to him to show me the way out, and as we do so, I will speak with him along the way, and when it comes to the parting of the ways, I will give him a blessing for his assistance. And then continue.
As you do so, like his eyes roll back in his head, and he like falls to the ground, convulsing.
So with a warm feeling of anticipation of the events to come, I will make my way through the ship back to the bridge.
Perfect. So we need to plan the journey, and that is the Lord Navigator's job. So the first thing that we need to do is for you to try and assess the length of the journey, Lord Navigator, and you can do that by doing a navigation warp test.
Okay. Let's see, navigation warp test. Gotcha. So, I got a 5%. So that is,
wow.
Yeah, that's under 60. So,
Holy moly! Yeah, it's incredibly clear to you. There are good charts for this route, although not as good as you might have wished. But as you kind of like focus on the task, it becomes abundantly clear to you. This will take 13 days, maybe 2 weeks. You're pretty certain on that exact number.
13 days, tremendously unlucky number. So I'm sitting in front of like a large canvas. I've got what I've got, like I've got charts in front of me on the tables and like the warp cores sitting next to me. And I'm like trying to work all this out with like these weird looking compasses and shit. But in my right hand, I've got a brush and I'm like trying to paint something on this canvas. And it's like a visual representation of how I see the warp, because like every navigator organizes the warp in like their own way. So like Keratos organizes the warp as a large, like endlessly tall labyrinth made out of black stone with screaming faces on it, with a white orb that leads him through it that's shaped like the skull of the Emperor.
Fuck yes.
So he's like, in his head, he's just like bringing down these like large walls and like building the labyrinth in front of him, just waiting for the skull of the Emperor to appear. And a smile crosses his face as he realizes this is going to be one fucked up journey.
Yeah, so the next thing you need to do is locate that skull, locate the Astronomicon, which is the light that the Emperor shines so that warp travel is possible. So you make an awareness test with +10.
Okay. Yeah, 17. So with +10, that's +10 in my favor, right? That's not a negative.
Yeah, it's in your favor.
All right, so I would succeed by 1 margin.
Okay. Okay, so excellent. So you think the journey will probably go well. You have a good idea. You're able to locate these the Astronomicon, this like blinding light that you can see, this huge glowing skull above the labyrinth, and you can feel the warmth and power of the Emperor through it.
Ah, yes, Emperor. I feel your presence. Guide us.
So the next thing that you need to do is determine the route. You'll need to make an ordinary, so +10 navigation warp test.
All right, so warp test. All right, got it. Ooh, so that's also succeed by 1 margin.
Okay. So you can tell already by the work you've put in that there's likely going to be some sort of danger on the route here. You think the winds of the warp are a little bit faster than you would have wished for, and you think it's likely something might go wrong.
So I'll draw like this weird like little vortex with teeth like up on the side of the labyrinth wall, and I'll say, "Yes, Emperor, guide us through our trials. Slings and arrows of misfortune, Emperor. Yes."
So now, with all that planned, the ship needs to open up the portal to the warp. It uses its warp engine to basically tear a hole in space. You've come to the warp point, so that generally like in systems there's like an area where the warp is thinner, and so it's easier to open up this hole in the warp. But you've come to this place, and using the ancient technologies of your warp engine, you stand in readiness. Shutters on every out-facing porthole are brought down. To look into the warp is to go insane, and so all shutters are closed down. Any sort of breach is closed so that no one can look outside.
It's only I see now. And I'll pull out my communicator and punch it through to the captain and say, "Aye, Lord Captain Targus, we are ready. I have seen our path, and the Emperor has decreed it will be trials and tribulations."
Very well. Well done.
I
Trials we can deal with.
got a quick question for you, Lloyd.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything I could have done with my tech use skills to maybe have coaxed a little extra speed out of this, or no?
So the warp travel is pretty much exclusively a navigator thing. It's
Okay.
It's not like in real space. Definitely, like in a battle, you'd be well able to like try and get some more juice out of the engine. But the warp engine's like a different thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
So every shutter is closed. Everyone is encouraged to strap in and prepare for transition into warp space. And with a groan, the enormous 5-kilometer long Dauntless begins slipping into this portal in reality. The warp is this like kaleidoscopic, coruscating, hideous, just unstoppable, awful place. Just a riot of color, creatures floating inside of it that are the size of continents or planets. But luckily, none of you see that. And into the warp you go. Now you'll be in here for it looks like 13 days. So I will need 2 percentile rolls, please, Mr. Navigator.
Okay. And as we slip into the warp, I will mouth, "Be faithful, be strong, be vigilant. No world shall be beyond the Emperor's rule. No enemy shall be beyond his wrath." And I got a 27 and a 46.
Okay. So the first few days in the warp go by as easily as warp travel can. Even so, whenever you sleep, there are nightmares. That never stops. Every time you sleep in the warp, there are agonizing nightmares of like things crawling in the dark, of these creatures with no faces, tentacles, all the horrors that you can think of. And when it's not that, it's visitations from your family members long dead or those who you saw die, things like that. But at the third night of your warp travel, the sensors begin to detect a ship. It is generally quite a scary thing to see another ship in the warp. It's unusual. And sensors have a very difficult time in the warp. So often they detect things that aren't there, but sometimes it's very hard to use proper instruments basically in the warp. But they detect a ship. It is 160,000 kilometers from where you are, but it comes up on the scanners.
So who would be getting that information in general?
Yeah, you would, but also like the bridge would get that information as well.
Okay. Do we have any visuals on it, or any holographic representations of what it's like? Can we identify it?
It's too far. You're getting like a rating, like a beep, like a sonar rating, basically like a beep, beep, like something is nearby.
There's something. Oh, it's definitely identified as a ship rather than some creature or the other.
Yes. Yeah.
Going the same way we're going.
Coming towards you.
Oh. Let me guess.
It's moving at a frightening speed.
On a collision course, perhaps, I shall ask.
Yes, sir. On its current trajectory, it'll cut us right in half. Wee, 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 wee. Fucking alarms going off. Crewmen just like looking all around like, my lord, what are we to do?
We have two choices. We can blast it or we can evade it. I'm feeling generous today, so we shall evade. Sidestep.
Can you make me a willpower roll, please, Rogue Trader?
Ooh, that could be close. 37. Willpower is... No, missed it.
Yeah, you're about to give that command and you think, why should I? Why should I, a veritable god of war, turn aside? And you just get these like urges for murder and destruction.
Prepare to fire.
And there's like this huge, like bloodthirsty cheer that comes up from the crew.
Targeting sensors. Fire up the. Which gun might be best for this particular?
So it's coming from your starboard side. So the macro cannon broadside there.
Yes. Starboard broadside, I think.
Aye, sir. And like people begin kind of typing furiously, moving stuff across screens, and you could feel the sort of like as like massive, thousands of tons large munitions are like slotted into shape. Targeting solution acquired, sir.
Good. Fire upon my command, and I'll wait until we see the whites of their eyes, I think.
Yeah, the ship continues approaching.
No, just checking to see if any of my battle preparations would have been able to help contribute to bonuses or anything on the attack rolls, etc.
Yeah, certainly. You could try and do a tech use to try and get the end of the turn in a more favorable way to get a full broadside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if there's anything I could have done with the guns too as an engineer. I'm not sure, but let's see. Percentiles, as soon as I dig it out here. Now, this is based on intelligence, right? So I just need to roll and compare to my intelligence again. Sorry, it's been a month since we played.
Yeah, no problem. So your tech use, yes, your intelligence. And if you have a tech use, that's like if you get the extra 10% or something, then you'll get that bonus.
I have, what am I in tech use? I have, yeah, I'm trained in tech use. Okay. So I rolled a 51 under 69.
Yeah, no problem. The ship, which you know is a warship and hungers for battle, turns appropriately, trying to get itself into the more fortuitous position. Now, I'll need a piloting plus maneuverability check from whoever's piloting the ship, which I guess is the rogue trader.
Okay.
So your ship's maneuverability is... Let me find out. So your maneuverability is plus 10. So do you have pilot space?
No, I'm more of a trader than a pilot. However, I'm quite prepared to learn on the job under pressure. So
this is why you need a void master. You can have the crew do it, but they're probably... I mean, they're not as... I don't know what your piloting is at.
I have a 34 piloting, but I think if I stop navigating, we'll get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what my score is as well. So should give it a go.
Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, 1 in 3 chance. What could go wrong in the void? Okay, here we go. I don't think that worked. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Oh, that looks like a 94 from here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no!
So you maybe not as used to piloting
Well,
this.
it's been a pleasure playing with you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Not used to piloting this 5 kilometer long behemoth of a ship. You kind of give it a bit too much too much torque, right? And the ship just begins to groan as it like turns. People are like flung across, like those who aren't tied down are like flung across as the forces just interact with their bodies and like smash them into walls.
Brace yourselves.
Yeah, and it's just like this groan. Like the back part of the ship moves quicker than the front, and there's like this horrible groaning. But you managed to pull the ship around barely. You think you'll hit with some of your cannons at the very least. So then it needs to be a. Dun, 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 dun. I wish I knew. Starships, combat, fucking shoot the guns. Here we go. Oh my goodness, there's a lot, a lot of rules for this. Dum, bum, bum.
How does
Okay.
the fight?
I'm going to wing it for now. I'm just going to say that it's going to be a ballistic skill check.
From me again?
Yes.
Right. Ballistic. Okay. There isn't anything written down as ballistic. So is it...
BS, like in your main stats at the top.
Got you. Right, BS. Yeah. Could be
So
worse.
that's guns. That's not like bullshitting skill.
Yep, it's guns.
Yay! That's
Hey.
one level of success.
Excellent. Yeah, so the ship, like, still groaning, people still getting flung around the place. There's just like this ungodly, as like hundreds of macro cannons fire at once. And I mean, you wouldn't see any of it as all the shutters are down, but you could see like on the little holograph, basically, or the huge holograph in the center of the bridge, like the macro cannon projectiles flying across, and they just like rake the front of this ship. Seem to go like some of them just smash through, big explosions. The ship like breaks apart, but it continues with its ridiculous speed. The debris flying towards you. What are you gonna do?
Brace for impact.
When Keratos hears that, he'll start limping over towards his chair, taking like 3 steps and then looking up, 3 steps, then looking up, just like holding out his hand wantingly towards the seatbelt.
I guess if we point ourselves towards it, there may be less damage if we're lucky.
If you'd like to make another piloting check, absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yes. Hold on again. I'm going to try something. Oh, dear. Okay. So I failed that by like 3 steps.
Right, okay. So another sort of just like metal
Swing it back
groans
the
and
other way.
bang. Yeah. And just once, like, one of the people here who was like walking across, like one of the junior officers walking across to make sure that the other person was doing his job, is just like flung bodily up towards the ceiling and splats against it. Like a sickening crack as his neck breaks as he hits it, and then just a second later just splats again down. As the forces just like almost tear the ship apart. Just this thing is 5 kilometers long. It is not good at making swift turns. This ship continues towards you, and as it looks it's about to impact, there's just like this deafening cackle that wrecks through the ship, just like this like hideous high pitch but also incredibly deep, like several voices at once, just like laughter, and the ship like dissipates into nothingness.
Kennak is still bracing for impact.
Yeah, so is the whole crew. They're all just like, ah, ah! I guess the readouts.
Stand down.
It's gone,
Stand
sir.
down.
It's gone.
It's gone. It was a test. Some creature of the void playing tricks on us.
Could I have gotten any
Stand
kind
down
of
back to the stations. Clear up this mess.
Kennak have gotten any kind of readings on it or anything?
You could try and make a sensor. So I think that's awareness plus your ship's detection. And your ship's detection is plus 15.
Oh, I don't have any training in awareness. Let's see, it's perception 15. Now, if I don't have any training, is there a negative or anything like that? Or
I think it's like half, right?
half, is it? Okay. I rolled still, because half of 34 would be 17, right?
Yeah.
And I rolled a 32, so that's 17 plus 15.
Wow. Okay.
I rolled exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Sometimes the Emperor smiles on you. So yeah, the readings you get are like very inconsistent. It's like it comes up basically as like static on the readers. There's no actual like metallics or anything there, like nothing that comes up properly. It's just like all static.
Okay, I'll patch that through up to the bridge. Just send that up to the captain directly and say, "It looks like there was nothing there."
Yes. It would appear that's the case. But there was a cackle. There was a laugh. Something is toying with us.
Let me rephrase. Nothing physical.
Well, I feel strangely frustrated. However, we did test the cannons and tested the structural stability of the ship too.
Yes, I will see if I can make further improvements to the maneuverability.
If you would.
So you continue along the journey. There's a week of relative peace, although the nightmares do continue. Many of the crew reporting like this hideous laughter. You can hear it in the mess halls. The junior officers would tell you that there's talk of like laughter in their dreams as the week goes on through the warp. And it's literally hell.
Are we pretty much like sedentary when we're going through the warp, or are we allowed to move about and do things?
Yeah, you can move around. It's basically like a long space journey, so you're able to move around and stuff.
Okay, so after several nights of those dreams that you described and then that incident that we endured, I would make my way back down to the bowels of the ship and personally offer sacrifice up for the Emperor's blessing for our journey.
What are you sacrificing?
I would seek out that individual I dealt with before, and see if he is willing to have the honor.
I didn't catch the start of that. Who?
The guy that I interacted with that escorted me. I would see if he was willing for the honor of it.
Yeah. So coming down here, you can see that like many of the people here have like caked blood around their ears or their nose, clearly from being like close to the guns when they fire. And there's like a general sort of exhaustedness that you can sense here. Many of them are just like lying on the side of the path or whatever. There are quite a few dead that haven't been brought to the recycling chambers yet. And yeah, you would find this this person, and he would be ecstatic at the offer. You can see that he's got like blood caked around his eyes, his ears, his nose, and he has to like shout when you speak. He can't like hear you properly.
Okay, so doing so, I imagine that he's experienced many of the same dreams, the foreboding, and is of course well aware of the incident that occurred. And I will express the need for sacrifice and offer the honor to him.
I've heard the laughter every night. I hear it. I am happy to serve in whatever way you deem necessary, Lord Missionary.
You honor us all. And then I would seek out Morta Septimus to get her blessing and to gather those that can to kind of embolden them for the task ahead as well.
Yeah, she would give her approval, although she would say, dangerous to take a life in the warp, but perhaps it's what the Emperor seeks.
Given the graveness of our mission, I believe it is warranted. We must not fail. We must find this witch.
There's like an altar where these kinds of things are done. It's not common, but here among the Death Cult, it's a bit more common than usual. How do you want to do it?
Okay. First of all, what would I know regarding that? I don't know if any of my forbidden lore would come into play, or why that might be a bad thing.
Sure. So you could give me a forbidden lore check, certainly. I'll give you plus 20.
So I got an 18. And so with 25, that would be like, what's the standard? It's based off the skill, right? It's off intelligence. So
Yeah.
plus 25 would be 65. So that's 4 degrees of success.
All right. So you would know that the warp, many of the entities in the warp adore death, and that it's a common practice of heretics to like try and lure demons to them by killing in sort of profane rituals. Now, this ritual that you would do wouldn't be profane; it would be holy in your eyes, anyway. But maybe the demons won't see it that way. So that's like one of the risks that it would carry. But also, this is a murder cult, and so murder is something that they do frequently.
Right. Well, you know what? I believe that pride goeth before the fall, and I believe someone like Uriah be very prideful. This is, as you said, this isn't a profane thing. It's very holy. His devotion to the Emperor is without question, and of course, nothing could go wrong.
Nice. Yeah, so the body is like laid over this altar, and the Moratat has this like special glove with bladed fingertips that she will use to like dig in there, pull out the heart, and then burn it to the Emperor. People are chanting like verses from the like Tissio de Venatus, which is like the Bible to some extent, praying to the Emperor to see them through this, to banish the demon that constantly harries you as you go through the warp, and kind of drums and fire. It's like 1,000 degrees in here. It's so hot next to all these guns. Everyone's sweating. And she pulls out the heart and throws it into the fire. There's like a whoosh.
And while this is going on, I will also be chanting and praying, reaching a crescendo when the heart is eaten by the flame.
So there's like a cheer as it is finished, and the prayers reach like a fever pitch. But then the body of the man begins to laugh, similarly to how the laughter had ringed through the ship, a sort of hideous cackle. His like head rotates, turning around with like a sickening crunch.
Well, that's always a good sign.
Many of the people in the chamber begin like screaming in terror. Many of them are like reaching or desperately clinging on to like their holy like paraphernalia, like whips and stuff that they're using to whip themselves with. And now they kind of step away. They're not sure. Like, this is a ritual to the emperor. Is this him speaking through them or through this corpse? They're not sure. So many of them are like nervous. But then the body kind of begins to twitch here and there, like an arm, a finger, a leg.
I will begin to approach the body as it begins to twitch and move.
Such a welcome. An appetizer. Most appealing.
You will not find what you seek here.
Oh, your courage is false. I will eat your heart.
I will attempt to join the body with the heart as I lift my flamer, chanting a prayer to the emperor and try to extinguish it.
Okay, he actually makes a check, doesn't he? Yes. What?
It's an agility test.
Okay.
So let's see. It doesn't say what the...
Okay, so he actually rolled a 12. So the flamer kind of bursts forth and like wreaths the body in flame, but it doesn't seem to harm it. And it begins like within the flame to like with this hideous sort of rictus begin to rise up. The arms like pulling it into a vague sort of standing position atop the altar, and the head kind of like turns and like focuses on you. Roll initiative, please.
Okay, you have to refresh my memory. What is...
So you roll 1d10 and then you add your agility modifier, which is the first number of your agility score.
Okay, so that will be 10.
Okay. Go for the Moritat. Okay, so this thing, it's like standing here and it's like wreathed in this flame and then just like reaches at this arm that like stretches and possibly there's like snapping and cracking as the arm like stretches out towards you and tries to claw at you. Okay, so it actually misses. It like reaches out towards you. But you like duck at the last second and it like launches behind you like right into one of the nearby cultists and like destroys them, cuts them in half. And you're up.
So as I avoid this attack and one of the faithful is taken behind me, I will again begin a prayer as this time I lift my Archeotech lit blast pistol and attempt to shoot it in the head. Let's see, that is plus 10. Soft ballistic skill, correct? So that's 17. So 3 degrees of success.
Okay. Nice one. So then what's the damage?
Okay, it's a D10, but for every 2 degrees of success, I get to roll an extra D10 and pick the highest.
Oh, nice.
So I get to roll with 3 successes, so I get to roll 3 and pick the highest. So oh, well, I got a 10, so 13.
Okay. Yeah, like right through the eye, coming out the other side, and there's like a smoking hole in the head, and like the head flops, but then a second later, like crunches its way back. The Moritat screams for the Emperor, and it's going to try and attack. And she's gonna like take this gauntlet she has and try and drive it in again, which she does. Yeah, so she like takes this gauntlet and drives it into like the thigh of the thing and pulls out a chunk of flesh, throws it down to the ground. It like stumbles for a second, but seems to still be active. This creature now is going to reach for you. It's like jaw distends and like teeth just like fill its mouth, just popping out of the gum everywhere you look. It's going to try and bite at you. Oh man, but it totally bails it. It tries to get a snap on you, but the Emperor's blessings on your robes protect you as it like snaps down and like lets go immediately of the holy vestments that you're wearing. And it's your turn.
So basically, the pistol didn't really seem to have much effect on the creature.
No, it seemed effective. It just
There's okay. So
it's still going.
Okay. Yeah. So let's try it again, I guess. So that's another good one. So 13. So still just another 3 threes. 9. Okay, 9 was the best. So 12 points of damage.
Okay, so this time the pistol goes through right the center of its head and like basically cuts the head in half, and you see it like trying to form itself back together, like tendrils of skin, like trying to reattach. But eventually they like fall apart, smoking down to the ground, and the thing is dead.
So as it begins to falter, I will move over to it and stare down at it as I curse it in the name of the Emperor, then take the flamer to it.
Yeah, you don't stop until there's nothing but ash. And the Moritat says, I will chant ceaselessly for days to ensure that it never happens again. We couldn't have known, Lord Missionary.
Agreed. And in the end, the terrible thing was destroyed, at least in this physical form.
It was always burned the demon. We've done the Emperor's work.
Agreed. And any of those that are assembled as I'm making my way out, I'll go through and lay my hands on them and give them a blessing.
Yeah, you can see the two of them are like huddled. One of them is like pulling out his hair, just like desperately, like crying, rocking back and forth, pulling out his hair. And another one has like clawed at his face to the point where there's like blood running down his face. The rest of them have like managed a little bit better, but there's a lot of fear. But they take the blessing happily, many of them convulsing as this poor victim had done. And you can work your way back into the nicer parts of the ship, leaving behind the dead demon and the endless chanting.
Yeah, so afterwards I would go to my quarters for prayer and contemplation. And unless I'm needed or asked for, also fast and pray, basically, the entire time.
Yeah, the rest of the journey kind of goes by uneventfully until finally, after what seems like an eternity, you come out of warp space back into real space, and there's like a it's kind of like you've had a headache for 2 weeks and now it's gone, and you can breathe easier, like your chest isn't as tight. Everything just feels a little bit better. The shutters are finally opened, and you can see the void beyond. You've come all the way now to Port Wander, which is the last bastion of the Emperor's domain before you enter into the Expanse that you're going to. This is a huge space station, ostensibly run by the Imperium, but it's known to be like a hideout for pirates and the like. The map that you have gotten, this map for the ship, it is a location that's clear. There's a couple of notable anomalies, but you're not sure where that place is. Like, you can see the place, but you don't know where exactly it is. So you're probably going to have to find someone who knows where that is.
So I guess we will make our presence known to the authorities. Open a channel.
Lord Rogue Trader, welcome to Port Wander.
Thank you. Yes, Lord Captain Quaid, targets Quaid.
We have but one dock large enough for your ship. Please proceed to, and he gives the reels off this like code.
Very good. I'm sure some of my people will be paying attention.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yes,
okay, well, if that's a procedure, we'll go to that docking point.
Yeah, like there's it's basically like, if you imagine sort of like a disc, and there's all these like little huge docks coming off, but like something the size of this cruiser is pretty rare, and so they only have the one that'll fit, the Dauntless.
Okay, I think I shall have the controls over to someone else to dock it.
Yeah, probably for the best. Autopilot.
Yeah. Dum-dum.
So the location that you have in your mind, navigator, there's like this section of stars, a star surrounded by a nebula, and this a dust world that's like circled by a frozen halo. These are all kind of weird anomalies. You think they might be in a section of the Expanse called Winter Scales realm, but you're not sure. And even if that's the case, you need to know exactly where rather than just like wandering around. So you'll need to find somebody who maybe knows where that is.
Somebody on the ship, or are we like close to somewhere where we could like actually put in?
Yeah, you're pulling into Port Wander now, which is like this big space station.
Okay, I'll tell the Lord High Captain then that we need to find somebody with specific knowledge.
Right. Another astronomer.
Astropath. You think like either you need the best possible charts of this area, which would mean talking to the Navy maybe, or like a cartographer maybe, or like maybe pirates who've gone there before. There's a couple of different options, it's not really clear. Astropaths don't usually navigate. Maybe you could find a navigator here, but it's unlikely. Most navigators are on ships all their lives.
Yeah. Now, we were supposed to be meeting up with Canuck, sorry. Capac. Honourable Lord.
That's in Damaris. You're not quite there yet, so you've only come to the edge of Imperial space. You'll need to do another warp transit to get into the Expanse itself, but this is like a place you kind of need to stop. Otherwise, the journey would be another. It's dangerous to make a warp journey kind of longer than you've gone.
I'm with you now then. Yeah. Okay, I shall get back on the channel and just ask the guy that I was speaking to earlier on if he could put me in touch with anyone who may be able to provide or themselves or provide a contact who may be able to help us with our next warp.
Yeah, you actually think you get the impression you were talking to a servitor, so like a brainless machine, kind of, rather than a person.
Okay. Is there such a thing as like yellow pages that we could try?
I guess like if you get in there, you could like send your people out to start looking for contacts and stuff. There's not necessarily a yellow pages.
Footwork. Very well. We'll wait until we've docked and then we'll send some people out. And I will find the person you require. We require.
Now, because you know the location of this place, do you want to share, like, for example, do you want your people to go talk to pirates and tell them that you're trying to get to the specific place? Or do you want to keep it more quiet? You might have to, like, speak to some specific people and, like, pay them for their silence, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'd rather not speak to the pirates, the scum. So I'm quite prepared to pay. But we'll try a legitimate means first.
So the most legitimate means you could go to would be the Navy,
Right.
like the Imperial presence here on Port Wander.
Yeah, well, I've just remembered. Guess what?
You're in the Navy.
And I have a military contact.
Excellent. What's his name?
Yeah. Currently, he has a name. Contact. Sorry, military connections, it says.
Right, okay. Yeah, you were in the Navy, weren't you, before you were a rogue trader?
Yeah, ever so briefly.
Yep.
I think I've only just mustered out. So yeah, I'm using my contacts and I shall put on my my best clothes to make a good impression. And guessing we have like a video channel communication thing. I shall first of all try and get a meeting arranged, and try as quickly as possible to get the meeting arranged, and then go for the meeting, taking a few of my chosen men with me.
Certainly, yeah. With your rank and your level of importance, you can get a meeting pretty quickly. They invite you to the the naval compound here on Port Wander. You can take like a smaller ship, one of the many smaller ships aboard the Dauntless, over to that section of the port.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. So I shall contact the 3 gentlemen who accompanied me last time to see if they want to come with me this time. I know the astropath will want to go. It's just whether the other 2 want to come with me. Okay, so let's have a look.
Yeah, the navigator definitely will go. I will tell though my my little crew that works with me down in navigation that when I get back, I'm going to be speaking with them about disciplinary action for their failure in the warp.
There's like a ripple of fear runs through them as they realize they're going to be in trouble.
So send messages to the Lord Missionary and Lord Explorator.
Yes, Captain. I will be right there.
Excellent.
I'm always at your disposal, Lord Captain. I'll begin making my way there from my quarters.
Excellent. Good. And Marcus is coming with me as well.
Sir. Yeah, so you're brought to the naval compound. It's this massive, like monolithic square, basically, like built into this place. Hundreds of stories, and it's just like plain on the outside, no windows, just this massive aquila on the front. And you're welcomed by like an entourage of people, scribes, a particular scribe who's like sitting atop this like spider-legged thing that moves him, and he's got like a cherub floating up next to him, and it's carrying this huge scroll that he's writing on. And he says, Lord Rogue Trader Targus Quaid.
That is I.
You are here with the Dauntless?
Yes.
Very good. And he asks you maybe 20 stupid questions about the Dauntless, like its exact tonnage, all of this sort of stuff. Boring stuff, but it's like necessary for him to know.
Yeah, well, I shall redirect each of those to Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus reels it off. He's got it all memorized. And he's like writing it all down with like an auto quill. Thank you for your patience. If you will follow me, I will bring you to the Colonel.
Thank you.
Of course. And he like with his spider legs like begins moving you through. Once you get inside, there's like an escort of like smartly uniformed naval soldiers who like escort you to one of these super elevators, fires you up, and like through some corridors. Eventually, you come to this enormous office with this huge window looking out onto the vastness of space, and a desk. Nothing else in the room, just this desk and this massive window. And behind it sits a man with a comical, like waxed mustache. He's bald and he's got this uniform just groaning with medals. And he stands to greet you. My Lord Captain, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Colonel.
What can I do for you?
We seek. I'll hand you over to my associate here. He will be able to let you know. Lord Navigator, could you take it from here?
Yes, of course, Lord High Captain. I am Navigator Keratos Casconius. It is a great pleasure to meet your acquaintance, Colonel.
An honor, Lord.
And where was my suspicion? It was in a region called the Winter
Scale.
Winter Scale. I believe we are searching for a specific location in the Winter Scale that meets these criteria. And I'll try to relay him what I had seen in the crystal.
I see. Well, the charts that we use are, of course, Navy only. We cannot simply give them out to anyone who walks by. Not that you are simply anyone, Lord Rogue Trader and Lord Navigator, but you understand. Bureaucracy, policy, it simply isn't done. However, if you were to make some sort of donation to his Imperial Navy, then of course we would look upon this more favorably.
What kind of donation would be in order?
Well, we struggle here in Port Wander, the very fringe of his empire. They say that the sun never sets. Well, sometimes it does here. He gives like a dry smile. Any contribution that you could make would be most appreciated.
We have, yes, we have monitored donations, and
certainly that would be most appropriate. So I'll need you to make a profit factor roll.
What?
So profit factor is like how much money your Rogue Trader dynasty has, basically, not just money, but like all of the things, like including like planets that you own and shit like that, all rolled into one. It should be on your sheet somewhere.
Oh, I also, by the way, I have my lineage, I think, removes one from our profit factor. So just a heads up.
Wah, wah.
Oh. Right.
I think you're sitting at like 34 or something like that.
I've not got it recorded on mine.
Okay. Does anyone have it?
There should be a +1 from me. I've just spotted something else on my sheet.
Which one is it? Sorry.
Profit factor.
I have 31 listed on mine as starting in current.
Yeah. Sorry.
31. Okay. So if we get a +1 from the Rogue Trader and a -1 from the, so it'll be 31. So you want to roll below that.
Okay. Indeed, a 17.
Well, my lord captain, that is a most generous and, should I say, appropriate offer to His Majesty's Navy. It is, of course, difficult to keep all of these Xenos and pirates at bay. We do our best here, and this contribution will go a long way towards that. I am most grateful on behalf of His Imperial Navy.
It is the least we could do. In fact, we are due to, as soon as you mentioned Xenos, we were due to offer our assistance in that regard too at a later date. So, yes.
Ah, yes. We had heard stirrings of the Orcish horde. We have sent what we can, but we need to protect this place most of all. The space in the Expanse is not Imperial space.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well said. Now, the anomalies you're describing to me, I will liaise with my cartographers and get back to you immediately.
Oh, Colonel, I do have one more question.
Yes, Lord Navigator.
What type of donation would be in order for you to take that offer off the table for the next rogue trader that asks?
Well, you have made quite a generous donation, but, well, I suppose you would have to match that donation once more to ensure that we don't indulge, or rather accept a most generous offer from another rogue trader. It is, of course, quite trying out here on the fringes, you see, and every donation goes a long way. It would be foolish in the extreme to refuse an offer of generosity.
Of course, now that I think about it, you could accept their offer of generosity and just perhaps give them near accurate information.
I suppose we could do that, yes. It would, of course, put us in a bad light with that dynasty, and of course that's not what we want. If you were to perhaps increase your donation just a little bit.
My eyes will flash over at Captain Moneybags.
Yeah. It goes slightly against my grain, but if it even partly slows down their pursuit, then I suppose it would be beneficial. But he's a bit annoyed. Yes. Yeah. I shall increase it by factor of a tenth. Would that do?
Oh, but of course, Lord Captain, a most generous offer. Thank you. Your service to the Imperial Navy will never be forgotten. We shall name a ship in your honor.
Oh, so kind.
So there's like a bleep, bleep, and he reaches across. Yes. Very good. It seems that you were correct. The Winter Scale. There's a planet there. Magaros. Somewhere in that region there.
Ah, Megatros. Or is it Megaros or Megatros?
Magaros.
Megaros. Yes, Captain, I can find that. I can get us there.
Indeed, it is a thinly traveled route. You need to go through the battlefield.
Oh, incidentally, do we have the colonel's name?
Yes, Colonel Moltke. Moltke.
Excellent. Well, you've been most helpful. Colonel.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for your visit, Lord Captain. We will be sure to point any followers in a appropriate direction.
Thank you. Yes, I'll give him a salute too before we leave. Proper salute.
Yeah, he matches it. Stands up, does the sign of the Aquila.
We shall make our way back to the ship. Is that enough information then that he needs now?
Yep.
Yes.
We can.
I shall prepare.
Is there anything you'd like to do on Port Wander before you leave?
Nothing.
Can we actually check, see if those other ships have turned up? Oh, that other ship. Oh, we had one coming with us as well.
Yes.
Has he arrived yet?
They have not come out of the warp yet.
Okay. Yeah, we need to wait for them.
You will need to talk to the port authority, I guess, to try and get a manifest of what ships are here. There are plenty more mustachioed, greedy fuckers in this space station.
Yeah, well, that's what I'll do when we get back. Unless I may be more formidable in person, so we'll go around in person just to the various places. The port authority.
While the captain does that, the navigator will take his leave to go speak with his crew. Disciplinary action in line.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, you can find them, and when you return, the navigator's area is spotless clean. There's not a mote of dust to be found. All of their uniforms in perfect, crisp condition.
I'll actually walk over and dust my finger across one of the counters like I had done down in engineering and see if there's dust. Nothing.
They have scrubbed this place.
I'll smack my lips and walk over and sit down in my chair. I see you have prepared for disciplinary action. Please, those of you who have been trained in scanning, please approach.
Yeah, so 5 of them will step forward.
Which of you were operating the scanner when we picked up that phantom ship in the warp? The one that caused our captain to almost tear the Dauntless in half.
There's a moment where no one steps up. They're all looking down at the ground. And one of them turns his head to look in the direction of one of them, but doesn't say anything.
Who does he look at?
He looks at the last one in the row. Lorgar is his name.
Lorgar, was it you?
My lord, the servitor, it didn't catch it, my lord.
Lorgar, was this addressed in your training?
Yes, Lord Navigator.
And you were certified in the training program to operate the scanning unit on the Dauntless.
I was Lord Navigator.
What do you think went wrong?
Well, my lord, I believe the scanning machines, they don't function correctly in the warp. It's well known that the warp energies interfere with them, and it's very difficult for them to properly pick out. And he just continues rambling like that.
Yeah, and I'll start walking, getting closer to him, like with my hands folded behind my back. And when I get close, I'll stop, and I'll turn and just stare at him with my like a blank faceplate, and I'll say, "And what do you suggest I do so that doesn't happen again?" 10, 9.
Oh, my lord! More drills, perhaps. More training drills, or maybe we could. Oh God! Emperor, protect me! The servitors, maybe they need to be replaced, or the scanning equipment, or oh God, Emperor, please have mercy.
4, 3, 2.
Lord Navigator, please. I did the best I could.
And I'll say 1. And as the man presumably cowers in front of me, I'll turn to the person standing next to him, and I'll say, "You, what would you do?" 5, 4.
My lord, I would increase training on warp-specific anomalies.
Interesting. And then I'll turn back to the first man, and I am.
God. Yeah, he's like already wet himself at this stage, and now the eye just begins melting flesh off his bones, and he like contorts and spasms until he's a mess on the ground.
So after the screaming ceases, I'll turn back down the line and approach the second person I had asked and say, "Increased warp training anomalies. Yes, I think we will do that. Hopefully this is the last disciplinary meeting we'll have this month. But you never know. Dismissed."
There's like a click of heels, and they go back to their tasks.
Yeah, and I'll let out a sigh and walk over and sit down in my chair. And when I do, my bones cracking from my old age, I'll turn and I'll look at like a nervous, skitterish person on one of the consoles next to me, and I'll say, "Good help is so hard to find. Don't you agree?"
He does like a polite laugh, like, yes, Lord Navigator.
Back to work.
Of course. Now, Kenok, there has been some damage to the ship from the brutal turnings that had happened as the pilot or the rogue trader tried to pilot the ship. Like some of the I guess like some of the major columns and stuff have been like slightly bent, and many of the like basically a lot of rivets have popped. A lot of the strain wasn't expected, and so there needs to be repairs.
I would have implemented repairs immediately then after the event.
Yeah.
All teams would be working full time, no breaks, no rests until repairs are finished. Maybe minor rests. Every 8 hours, they can take 15 minutes to eat.
Yeah, the people who work for you anyway eat through NutriPaste. They would like basically.
In that case, then they can eat while they work, no breaks.
Yeah, they would like have injectors and stuff that they could eat while they work, and like.
So they're all kind of similar to myself then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
they would like
cool.
pump like neurostimulated and stuff, so they don't have to sleep for a long amount of time. Whatever, they would like work round the clock nonstop.
Would they all be like kind of part of the Mechanicus cult and all that too, or?
Yes, pretty much.
Cool. Yeah.
Only like the lowest sort of the low wouldn't be. Anyone who's like capable of proper repairs would be like at least an initiate in the Mechanicus cult.
In that case, then too, I would have also kind of tirelessly supervised all of their work, chipping in when needed. If I see somebody doing something incorrectly or not to my satisfaction, I would go in and show them exactly how I expect them to do it. To make sure that it's all perfect. I don't want this thing, breaking up because some idiot didn't put the rivets in correctly or straighten up that column 100%, etc.
Yeah. You would also need to like guide them through the prayers and incantations necessary, like show them the right incenses and stuff to use as you pray to the machine spirit. There's also like a ritual that you would have to do to calm the spirit of the ship after the battle.
Okay. Very good. Yep.
No, go ahead.
No, I assumed you were going to give me some kind of a skill to roll for that. Would that be under the Adeptus Mechanicus or?
Yeah, if you have like skill in that's the appropriate thing, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first for the right after battle, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. That's a 58. It's not great, but it's a 58 anyway, under 69.
Yeah. So you can lead them in the repairs. They get to it, like you say, and they don't stop non-stop working on like using these massive machines to like try and straighten out these huge like columns that run along the ship, slamming all, like doing a lot of welding and stuff, and like all the rivets, putting them back in place and stuff like that, replacing broken portholes that might have like snapped under pressure, things like that.
Realizing how much work there is to be done too. If it wasn't finished before our arrival at port, retroactively I probably would not have gone with the captain. I would have stayed to continue to oversee the repairs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not going to leave the ship in the hands of shitlords.
Yeah, and then there's a sort of calming of the machine spirit of the ship, which basically involves like wandering the halls with like censers and braziers and like incense, sacred unguents and stuff, and applying them to the right places, like praying a calming sort of prayer to the ship's furious machine spirit. It loves war, and it got all riled up. You need to calm it down, basically.
Yeah, I have the sacred unguents in my gear and everything too, so
it would take you a couple of hours, I think, going to the most important parts, and like trying to becalm the spirit.
I would also then, after the repairs are finished, I think I would want to do a full inspection, which I realize could take a lot of time, but yeah, that would be my level of sort of more diligence.
Yeah, it's kind of something that with a ship this size is very difficult to do, but it's also something that after a warp transit, it's pretty important to like make sure that everything's back to full capacity. I think you would discover doing it that there had been like a in the gun deck, like a breach. You would see it as like a wound in the machine spirit, some sort of breach, like something came in from the outside.
Oh, that's not good. While we were at warp?
Yeah.
Like a demon or something, yeah?
Yeah.
I would have to report that immediately.
Yeah, some kind of wound. Like you would be able to fix it. Basically, like you would imagine on the outside of the ship, which you can't see, that like the runes and stuff, because you have this incredibly detailed, beautiful, like set of runes that like cover the ship on top of the gather field. But you see that there's like been some sort of breach, and you would need to like get a crew out there to like replace those and like.
Is that something we would have to do in ports? Probably. Obviously, couldn't do it in hyperspace.
Couldn't do it in space. Yeah.
So I'd assign the appropriate teams for that. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be going with the captain then to import, because I'd be staying behind to make sure the ship is fully 100% operational first, but then also we want to make it looking sharp as well.
Yeah, right on. So, Captain, you have made
Yes.
your way to the Port Authority. Like every other building, this is a monumental, monolithic building with no windows and a huge aquila on the front. That is the way they build skyscrapers in 40k, and they're all the same. You can be brought in to speak, and of course, due to your rank, you'll immediately be brought to like a high-level scribe of the authority, like an administratum scribe. Meeting him, he would be like a long nose, sort of two bionic eyes. He's got all these like tendrils, like dreadlocks of wires and stuff coming behind him, leading into this massive throne that he sits on.
Yes.
And
Good
similarly,
day.
there would be like skulls, like servo skulls and cherubs and stuff floating around him with like scrolls and the like that, they're constantly taking notes.
I seek information.
Indeed.
The vessel named the Fell Hand, has it arrived in orbit or docked as yet?
What is thy clearance level? So you're in the top like you're in the top like 10% of clearance levels in the Imperium. But you're not like, basically above you there's like low ranking Inquisitors all the way to high Inquisitors. That's who's above you basically, and then like Space Marines and shit. So you would be in the like Epsilon range, somewhere like that.
Yeah. Epsilon Minor.
Cross-referencing. And he like turns to like snap his mechanical fingers, and like a cherub from up above like flutters down with this like scroll that it unrolls before him, and his like bionic eyes, you can see them reading two different things at once, just like brrr. Epsilon level clearance does not imbue you with the authority to find which ships are docked.
What level clearance would?
Any inquisitorial rank or higher. It is a private matter what ships pass through.
Yes, I suppose it is. It could well be of Imperial security, this information.
If you believe you have knowledge that the Inquisition should know, you must report it immediately to an Inquisitor or be associated with the heresy.
Who is the Inquisitor on this station? Could you direct me to them?
Certainly, you will find him in the Inquisitorial headquarters.
And his name?
His name is Inquisitor Mafmaron.
Very well.
Is there anything else I can do for you, Lord Captain?
No. We will probably be back shortly.
Indeed.
I shall about turn and leave and head towards the Inquisitor. Inquisitorial building.
This building actually looks different to the rest. Amazingly, it's smaller than the rest, which is unusual. It is like almost like a spire almost. It's black, and it's got this skull with a stylized eye behind it. This is a symbol of the Inquisition. This is the worst nightmare of any Imperial citizen. You do not want to be dealing with the Inquisition in any situation if you can avoid it.
Okay, I shall stand for a moment looking up at this imposing building with the eye looking down at me.
Like that guy is correct in theory. Like if you know something that might be heretical and don't report it, then you are in fact a heretic.
Yeah, well, I guess we have got something-ish, although it's not confirmed about her being a witch or whether.
Although being a
that was
psyker
what I was
isn't
going
in
to play.
itself illegal. It's if they're unsanctioned, then it's illegal, and I guess you're not sure.
No. So interrupting them may be a bad idea, with information that isn't confirmed.
Like if it turns out to be true, then you've destroyed your enemy. But if it turns out it's false, then you have destroyed yourself. You know. There's a servo skull that like, as you're like standing looking, comes and like whips around you for a second and then returns back to the building.
I shall nod to myself and turn away.
Probably for the best.
Back to the ship.
Okay. So having made repairs and been prepared and dealt with disciplinary measures, all sorts of things, your next step would be to wait, and another 2 days go by until the smaller ship comes out of the warp and hails you. This is the righteous path. Who had agreed to come with you to Damaris? If you remember, you had spoken to their navigator and he had agreed to work with you.
I remember he was the navigator of that transport ship.
Yeah.
He's out. He's the one that's out looking for vengeance on the other rogue trader.
Exactly.
Do you have his name again?
I don't.
Okay, that's right. Do you remember the name of his ship?
The Righteous Path, I think, was the name.
Righteous
of the ship.
Path. That's it. Yeah, man.
A very grandiose name for a very small ship.
It wasn't that small, if I recall correctly. It was still...
No, it's about a fifth the size of your ship.
Right. Only a kilometer long. Then.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. When you're dealing with 40K, it's silly, but yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so they would come and they would say that they are ready to make work preparations whenever you are.
I want to go over one more time. Oh, no, I don't. Never mind. Sorry. Wrong kind of ship.
Yeah.
The engines had nothing to do with that.
Just give them a chance to do what they want to do
Sure.
for the day or so.
You know what? I'll actually, before we depart, I would talk with our engineer here about setting up an anomaly program to test my navigator team.
Like a fake one?
A fake one, yeah. So yeah, I'll walk around in engineering and look at how filthy the place is, and rub the finger of my glove once again on the counter and pick it up black and say, "So, what do you think, Lord Engineer? Can you do it?"
Of course I can.
It'll have to be difficult. As difficult as before, if not more. We can't have another incident like that arising. The captain almost tore the ship in half.
I will see what I can do to improve the sensitivity of the scanners.
Thank you. Oh, also, and I'll turn around and look at you. How did your disciplinary action go? Did your crew perform well?
Lloyd, I presume the inspection went well.
Yeah, I guess you didn't take disciplinary matters because it wasn't really your guys' fault.
No, I didn't take disciplinary actions, but I just want to make sure that I assume I've done my inspection of the structural integrity.
Yeah, there's a tendency in the Mechanicus to like not make mistakes because they think almost purely logically, you know.
Yeah, machines don't make mistakes.
Exactly. So it's very rare that you would have like anyone acting out of pattern, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Navigator, my crew has performed admirably. You will find the ship in as good of shape, if not better, than it was before the incident. Might I ask, Lord Navigator, who was piloting when the ship was nearly torn in half?
Well, the pilot was the captain, but it never should have came to that. They should have known the scanner. What was his name? What it was? Largath?
Lorgar.
Lorgar. The late Lorgar.
Perhaps we should look for a replacement for him from amongst the Adeptus Mechanicus.
If you have someone you think can operate in the warp chamber, I wouldn't be against it.
Would they be able to, Lloyd?
Yeah, it's only the navigator himself who like goes into this bubble atop the ship where he looks at the warp. The rest of them are like in his area, so they would definitely be able to. They're probably better at it than others, but they would need like a little bit of training to figure out how to use the scanners and stuff. But they would be a quick study for it.
Yeah. So let me see here.
The thing about it is, though, is when they're scanning like particularly like warp anomalies and stuff, a lot of it comes down to like guts feelings, you know. Because it's not always clear if it's a yes or no, and the Mechanicus priest have a tendency to be like it's literally binary, you know.
Yeah. Perhaps then I would recommend. Perhaps I would recommend a Mechanicus advisor to be on hand.
You could give him one of your servitors, which would be like the best quality servitors in the ship. Like they would process quicker and stuff.
A consultant.
I'm not a fan of advisors. However, if you would like to donate one of your men, we could arrange some kind of partnership, perhaps a new test program. 2 officers, 1 machine. One looks at it analytically, the other looks at it purely by gut. We can arrange some kind of standard operating procedure.
It will be done, Lord Navigator.
Thank you. This has been most enlightening. And I'll take a step like I'm going to leave, and I'll stop, and I'll say, so you didn't kill anyone. Interesting.
There was no need.
No beatings, not even a slapping of a glove, caning, scourging perhaps.
My men perform their duties beyond 100% efficiency.
Oh, engineer, I understand, I believe. And I'll turn and I'll walk up close to you. I understand. You did not administer the beating to your men, but your men's families. Oh, you are a dark one, engineer. You are a dark one. And I'll begin to leave.
So, yeah, I would definitely then assign one of the better what did you call them, servitors?
Yeah.
To work in the the sensor area and to make sure that everything's functioning properly, and to be there too, also to question if somebody's making some kind of a passionate, heat of the moment kind of decision. He'd be there to say, "Wait a minute," or basically, are we looking at this correctly?
Okay, definitely.
And I'm going to consider. I'll start looking through my my files, my personnel, see if there's someone else who I might be able to recommend to do a similar type role regarding the piloting.
Sure. Yeah.
But I won't raise that just yet because I don't know how to suggest that to the captain that maybe he needs assistance.
We are witnessing the first stage of the Lord Engineer's coup.
Put his people everywhere.
I do not know what you mean, Lord Navigator.
This is like some assimilate bullshit.
Okay, so the next step of the trip is from here to through the Maw. Now the Maw is just like there are two warp storms either side, two enormous warp storms that have been raging for centuries, either side of like this small opening that leads into the Coronis Expanse, and so you need to navigate through there. So you need to get from where you are now to just past there. And just past there, there is this remnant of a huge battle that happened centuries, millennia, who knows ago. There's all these like derelict ships and stuff like that. That would be your next kind of staging point.
No problem. The powerful seed of the Empire can slip into this womb. What's the roll?
Okay, so we got to do another one of these warp situations. So make a navigation warp test.
Okay, navigation warp. Big money. 31, so 3 degrees of success.
Okay. Yeah, so you think this will probably take less than a week, probably 5 days.
5 days. A number of protection. The Emperor smiles upon us.
Now we need to locate the Astronomicon. So a awareness test plus 10.
All right. 1 second here. I might need to use an ability on this. That's not navigator power. Nope, I have to do a normal test. Okay. Nope, that's a failure by 1 degree.
Okay. And then a plus 10 navigation warp check to determine the route.
That is 1 degree of success.
Okay. And yeah. So you head into the warp. A portal opens. You and the Righteous Path together translate into the warp and begin your journey through. I will need a percentile roll from you, please.
Yes, 16%.
Okay. So you're 5 days in and nowhere near your destination. It seems as you have misjudged where the Astronomicon was, and so it's taking a lot longer than you thought. And after these 5 days, there's a sort of feeling amongst the crew. You can kind of sense it of like illness. There's like a lot of hacking coughs, a lot of fevers and stuff breaking out. The Medicae bay is packed full of people who are like suddenly come down with this sort of feverish cough. And it spreads pretty quickly through the ship. Quarantines are put in place, but even so, many people are like bedridden for days. You will see on some of these bodies pustules kind of growing out, always in clusters of 3. If someone has forbidden lore, they could make a roll to try and determine what that is.
What kind of forbidden lore? Because I have a couple.
Oh,
But I only have Archaeotech and Adeptus Mechanicus. So.
Okay, so neither of those. It would be like warp or demons or something like that.
I've got warp.
With heresy.
Heresy, definitely, yeah.
So I got 2 degrees of success.
Okay.
And that's for warp.
Yeah, so you've seen this, something like this before, a few times actually. There are obviously powers within the warp, powers that want to see humans suffer. And every time you've seen these like sicknesses come upon people in the warp, they've always had this this trio of clusters, these pustules that grow in threes. There's like a you don't speak the name of the thing that seems to cause it, but you know it's one of these ruinous powers that seeks to destroy all life. It wants to, rather than destroy, it actually wants to bring all life into its postulant bosom, bring them all together. You would know then, missionary, that it is Nurgle. Nurgle is one of the greater powers of chaos, the grandfather of sickness. And this kind of rot is quite dangerous if not contained, but you have done the necessary containment steps. But you'll find that everyone infected will die. And so thousands, I would say 2,500 people snuffed out from this sickness.
They'll free up some rations and natural resources and some room in the hold.
And what has allowed this to happen?
It seems like the warp itself. It like spread in through like dreams or something like that. All it takes is a momentary minuscule lapse, enough for one spore of a disease to get in.
And would I suspect this could have anything to do with a lapse in the shielding or the plating of the ship?
No, you think it's probably more warp related than like it's barely something in the physical, you know.
Nothing I can blame on the engineering team.
You could possibly blame it on like a breach in the Geller field, maybe even a minuscule one, but you wouldn't be certain.
Would we be able to determine all like where it originated, like a patient zero type of thing?
Yeah, you would. I guess you know, after now all of the people who had been treating this disease would also be dead, but the servitors would have in the memory banks like the first patient, and it would have been somebody down in the gun deck. That's where the kind of they're the closest to the actual outside.
Right. So once that was determined, I would contact Septimus, the Martat Septimus, and inform her the identity of the individual and have her scourge anybody that was close to that individual.
Yeah, she sees to it. It wasn't, thankfully, it wasn't like the laser battery at the front. It was one of the macro cannons towards the back end of the ship. But she sends a roving death squad down there to ensure that all those who might have been related, even through a handshake to these people, have been dealt with. So another 5 days will pass before you exit the warp. Somewhat worse for wear. No damage to the ship itself, but to the crew, certainly. And you come out into this battlefield. There are derelicts everywhere you look. Space hulks, huge ships, now like torn apart from some ancient battle.
Ooh, that's interesting. Would it be able to check for any kind of how ancient?
You would know that like this is a pretty commonly traveled route, and you would think there's nothing worthwhile stealing, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Now I just wondered if there's any
Yeah.
chance for any cool archaeo tech or anything.
Yeah. You would know that like this is like one of the only ways into this sector, so it's very unlikely that there's anything worth keeping.
I've got engineering crews anyway. Well, it's been 5 days now since it's already done, but I would have already overhauled and done full diagnostics on the Geller field. And did I lose a large portion of my team as well to the sickness? Any kind of
No.
percentages or anything? No.
None. So pretty much every tech priest immediately, one of the first things they do is like get respirators and stuff like that.
So my team weren't susceptible to the disease.
Pretty much. They were also quite far away from where the spread happened.
Well, my people are superior to most organics, I suppose.
The flesh is weak.
It's a problem with those natural diets.
19 hours through this battlefield, your sensors begin to pick up a weak salvation beacon. This is like a distress signal. And actually, before we go any further, I'm just going to run to the bathroom if you guys want to take a quick bio break.
Uh-huh.
Roger.
Well, I'll grab something to drink. And I am back.
Me too.
All right, I'm back.
I guess we really should have considered having a pilot on.
Well, if you've not seen the captain most of the last 5 days, he's been brushing up on his piloting skills. So that's what I'm going to be spending my experience on.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not piloting. Like you're not. It's not like you're sitting behind a wheel or something. You know, it's really like because the ship is so enormous. It's like being on the bridge and giving the right commands. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commanding the pilot crew.
Yeah. Because piloting the ship takes like hundreds of people in tandem.
Yeah.
I think somebody on the piloting crew should have suffered some disciplinary actions, but yeah. The engineers have been performing admirably.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
can
break it, we'll fix it.
Captain, send me a young, fertile woman. I need to pass on my mutant genes. Like some mythological dwarf.
So you guys, you pick up the salvation beacon, which is like a distress signal, an SOS, basically.
Yep, if we can pinpoint exactly where it's coming from.
Certainly. You can give me a scrutiny plus 15, which is your detection of your ship. Check.
Scrutiny. Okay. Plus 15. Nope. Missed it. Missed it by a few.
Yeah, so the scans are kind of inconclusive. It looks like there is a ship out there, but it's inconclusive as to what the situation is with it.
Something is interfering with the signals.
Now we're in real space, right?
Yeah.
Now I have a talent here. One sec. It's a part of my. It's my second power that I have. It's called Track in the Stars. Using perception, the navigator can track the warp trail of a ship through real space in the same way as if he was using the tracking skill. Can I try to hone in on this ship using that?
Yes, definitely.
All right, let's do it. Make my perception check. Come on, baby. Let's see. Failure by 6 steps.
Ouch.
Killing it.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna use one of my fate points and automatically succeed.
Okay. Yeah, so then with that, you can determine that there is a ship out there. It's a transport-sized ship, and it looks like it's held together with spit and glue. It's like taking heavy, heavy damage, and it looks like it's only like able to communicate with this like emergency salvation beacon.
What's the trail look like? Did it come in the way we came in?
Yes, it did. It came in the way you came in, but then has stopped where it is. It's kind of drifted a little bit.
All right. So immediately I will communicate that to the captain. Captain, I've used my special ability to track its warp trail. It looks like it corkscrewed in through the battlefield on our vector and has now went derelict.
Impressive. Very well.
Now that you know where it is, you can make another scrutiny, this time with plus 20.
Yeah.
So basically plus 35 in total because it's plus 15 from your ship and then plus 20 on top.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Made it.
Yeah.
Made it.
So with that, then,
level.
as I say, the type of ship, it's a transport. You can also now get like a picture up on the hollow screen in front of you. It is definitely a like pilgrimage ship, something like that. It's covered in ecclesiarchal iconography all over it. The front sort of prow is actually like shaped like a huge book, and there's like script there. Very religious vessel.
Okay. Do we have the facility to pick up such vessels?
It would be too big to fit in, but you might be able to like go over and do repairs and like take the crew if there's any left on board.
Right. I feel it's probably within our duty to do so, even though it's slowing us down. Start making plans to send over a boarding party. I'll try raising them as well.
Yeah, there's no response when you try to raise them. You'd have to get quite a bit closer. Like you're currently like 200,000 kilometers away,
Okay.
if not further. You'd have to get closer before you could like get a proper look or send a boarding party.
All right. I just run some other scans to see whether there may be any ships lying in wait to ambush us if we approach this derelict.
Yeah, you can make a scrutiny plus detection at minus 15.
Okay. Ooh, hold on. Is that including the 15 with?
Yeah, so basically
overshoot?
just straight scrutiny for you.
Yep, succeeded then. Made it.
Okay. Yeah, so kind of as the scans are going, whatever, you're looking through this dense, just battlefield all over the place, all these like broken down ships and stuff all over the place. You kind of pick up a few like heat signatures here and there, but it's very hard to determine like if they are just like left over from ships or like if it's anything real. So basically, long story short, you're not sure.
Right. Well, we'll mark them all as potentials and
Okay.
put at least one weapon on them, just in case. As we approach.
Yeah. So do you want to approach this ship like head on? Do you want to approach it like side on?
Well, we've got 2 broadsides. We'll go straight in.
Okay.
That's what my I think that's what the lesson in naval tactics told me about last time I remember.
And I'm already dispatching, damage response teams. Make sure they're ready.
Yeah. No problem. So you start approaching the ship. You can see now it's, as I say, tiny. A transport, less than a kilometer long. It doesn't seem to have like any working engines. Now that you're close, no working weapons. It looks like life support's barely functioning as you approach. And then there's like an alarm. Weep, 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 weep. Like one of these heat extinguishers that you had taken note of is hotter and moving.
Target that vessel. Is it coming towards us? Does it look like it's going to take some hostile action?
It looks like it's moving towards you, and then blip, 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 another from another side activates. Roll initiative, please. So this works the same as normal initiative, which is you roll. I'm going to see which one of you rolls it, but I think it's.
Is that D10, did you say?
Yeah, a D10, and then you add your agility modifier, which is like the 10 digit of your agility.
Okay. 8.
Okay. Just want to make sure that's initiative. So the captain of the ship, yeah, that's you. Okay, and they rolled poorly. Okay, yeah, you are the first to react. Now there seem to be 2 ships coming in your direction. You can just see heat signatures at this stage. You haven't like scanned them properly or anything like that. They are moving in your direction. Now there's you basically, when you're in combat in space, you're always moving. The ship has too much momentum not to be, but you can choose to go half speed or full speed. You can also try and turn and things like that. Those are like specific actions that you take during fighting. So you're currently kind of coming head on towards this thing, and it looks like one of them, one of these ships is off to your right, the other to your left. So basically, either side of you as you're coming head on.
What sort of size are they in comparison to us?
You'd need to do a scan.
Not very clever, are they, really? Fools. I shall try scan. No. Well. No, that's a 77.
Okay, yeah. So you're finding it difficult to kind of hone in on what exactly they are. Your scans would like tell you the basic size. They're not as big as the dot. It's not even close. It looks like they're somewhere in the region of like the Righteous Path, somewhere like that size.
Okay. Battle stations. And we'll fire first and ask questions later, I think.
Yep, probably for the best. So you're moving straight ahead, I assume, yeah?
Yeah. Maintain course. Bearing.
Okay, do you want to like go faster or slower at all? Do you want to turn? Or just maintain the way you're going?
Okay. Yeah, what we'll do. Full reverse, all engines. Brace yourselves.
Oh god.
Fire.
Okay, so the ship can't reverse. It's only got engines in the back, so you'd need to do like a full about turn if you want to turn. You know what I mean? Do you want to go backwards?
All right, so so you can't. Got you.
Yeah, all the engines are at the back, so basically it's just like full momentum. You have to like turn.
Yeah, I'm good at turning this thing around.
Yeah. Good. So if you want to try and turn, you need to make a pilot plus maneuverability, and your maneuverability is plus 10. You'll actually need to do a minus 10, so you'll just do a straight up piloting spacecraft check. No, actually that's not true. You just have to do a plus 10 piloting check.
Okay. Woohoo! Yep. Success.
Okay. Yeah, so you begin to turn the ship around. Now, I assume the idea is to like face one of these things and obliterate it, because like they're coming from two different directions.
Don't we have enough on either broadside to take them both in one go?
Yeah, but you're not really facing either one, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And they're obviously not going to try. They're going to try and avoid getting into that arc. So if you turn now, you might be able to like turn your ship totally towards it, so they can't avoid it.
Yeah, we'll take one then. Take one down.
Yeah. So the ship begins to like groan, but less dramatically so, as it like turns about, moving forward towards this smaller ship. Now, one of these ships kind of blasts at pretty swift speed in your direction. This is from your left, which I guess is port. No, starboard. I don't know. Towards you. Okay. And you detect far too late like a blip. There's some sort of mine coming towards the back of your ship that had been like powered off, lying in wait for just such an occasion. It's obviously been activated, and it smashes towards the ship. Looks like these guys know what they're doing.
All right.
So this mine floats towards the ship into the back. Towards you, you'll still have like a chance to react, but it's quite close. And this other ship begins moving as quickly as it can. It's going to try and maximum speed itself and see if it can pull that off. Yes. So it begins barreling towards you. While the other one, the one you're pointing at, foolishly does the same thing and tries to move towards you in a way, like towards the front of the ship as opposed to the side. It's going to try and pull off a ridiculous piloting maneuver to do so. And it fucking bottles it. So you see this like ship up on the holographic display in front of you. It like comes out from between these asteroids, whatever, and tries to move towards the front of the ship, which is probably the least dangerous part to some extent. But as it does so, it begins to like drift inexorably towards the broadside. Now they're going to fire their laser batteries at the ship. Okay. Aye, that might be a hit. Okay, excellent. Now I have to find out what the hell that means. defenses. Okay, so I gotta see how many hits it does, and then your void shields will probably block it all. Okay, and your void shields. Yeah, so basically one of them fires this like lance battery from the front of the ship that like rakes across or would rake across the ship, but instead it hits one of the many layers of void shields that you have and like slices a hole into it. But you still have another layer of void shield and a thick hole in between you and it. And so you from inside would see like this like bright flash as like the left hand side of the ship. The void shield just like sparks kind of. And the other one's going to try and shoot from the other side. And misses its shot with this laser battery, which is like fires infinitely into the distance, but does not hit you. The Righteous Path doesn't have a clue what to do in this situation. It's not a warship, it's a transport ship. And so they stick relatively close to you. They're going to just perform some evasive maneuvers. Then it's back to you.
This mine is still drifting towards us.
It is indeed, yeah.
Wonder whether we could maybe set it off by shooting something like some chaff or something like that, the equivalent.
Yeah, your ship is like covered in turrets and stuff like that. You'll need to definitely. You can make a lock on target check, which is a scrutiny plus detection, so scrutiny plus 15.
Would be, wouldn't it? Plus 15, you say?
Yes.
Cool.
It's because of that sick bridge you have. Oh yes, yeah. I forgot my my perception's quite good. So yes, we made it. Yeah. Nice. So you can see in front of you, like several of the people in the bridge are like Luke trying to or Vader trying to lock onto Luke. There's like this ridiculous overlay, whatever, where they're trying to get it into its sights as it continues to like move erratically. As it's programmed to do, but eventually there's like a and it locks on. So now you can make a firing ballistic skill check and you get +5.
Oh yeah, nailed it. 22.
Massive explosion as the mine explodes out in the void. There's like a rumble against the void shield, but that's as bad as it gets. Okay, and you want to continue moving in the same direction?
Yeah. If it could possibly take us, so we'd be on so we'd have them both on one flank. That's what I'm trying to do now. So they'll both be on the part.
Yeah, so you'd have to go straight a bit more and then turn to get them both because they're going. Really should have a battle map for this. So one of them's doing like an arc from the right, the other one's doing an arc from the left. So they're going to end up in the same place. So you'll need to turn.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. Try and catch them both when they sort of cross over their paths.
Nice. All right, so the mine is dealt with. Now these motherfuckers are going to try and shoot you. Okay. So another blast from these lasers. Oh, and that's a really good hit. Okay.
Is there anything between us, like a transport vessel, perhaps?
They're not aiming for the transport vessel that they obviously have crippled. They're aiming directly for you, and they do get a good hit in. I'm just making sure that I have this right. Trying to find the information on void shields and exactly how they work, but I think Motherfucker! I wish this book had a more clear layout. Put on some elevator music while I figure this shit out. Dun, 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 dun. I will hand wave it. Okay. So they fire their laser battery. It hits. It does. Okay. So into the second void shield. The first one now having been dealt with after the first two opening salvos. This one now smashes into the second void shield, and it seems to fizzle. As this huge hit like rakes across it, like a sword slash almost. This laser battery. The other one is going to move to try and get into broadside with the front of your ship. It does not want to be on the side of your ship. That is suicide. So it's going to try and get there, pulling off some sort of sick piloting maneuver, and it does. So you see, I guess out of the port even of your bridge, you would see this other ship like just pull in front at pretty shocking speed, pull in front, and then there's like a as the broadside is opened up. It's going to try and hit with that. Oh god, yeah, but it misses spectacularly. It all goes underneath the ship. The angle is all wrong, and they just like fire underneath. Not a hit. And now it stands before you, side on, as your Sun Spear laser battery looks right at it. And they audibly shit themselves. And well, it's back to you.
That's too tempting to an opportunity to miss that. So we'll fire the laser. Take it out.
God. Okay, so it is the, what have you got? Sunseer laser battery. Okay, so give me a ballistics.
Any bonuses?
I think you add your ship's detection. Yes, of plus 15.
Yeah, success then. That's a hit.
How many hits?
Just a single.
Okay.
Single success.
So roll me a d10.
Oh, a 9.
Oh, nice. Oh, Jesus. Okay, this is probably going to be bad for them.
Good.
Let's see what they've got. Oh, geez. Okay. So they're... All right, so you blast through the void shield and rake through the ship. You can see like fires burst out across this thing as it gets hit majorly. The armor just about holds the ship together as fires break out all over the place, and like you can see on the kind of overlay of zoomed in, like just like bodies being sucked out into the vacuum of space as these holes are rent through the ship. It looks like it's in bad shape. Okay, and you're continuing to move. Do you want to now do the turn? Now this ship is right in front of you. You could try and ram it.
Just to crack it open, yeah.
Like,
yeah, why not? We'll give that tactic a go.
It's about 1 kilometer long, and yours is 5 kilometers long, so you're enormous in comparison. Okay, so then let's do a piloting at plus 10.
Okay. Ooh. Just check in.
Yep.
Oh, missed it by 1%.
Okay, so you
glancing below then.
Yeah, you basically, I mean, the ship is so huge, your ship, that like even with a glancing blow, the corner of like this brutal point at the front of your ship like hits theirs and just like sends it spinning. You can see like similarly to before, like you like shear a bit off their ship. The damage to your own is absolutely negligible as the ship begins spinning off in one direction. Looking, Jesus, okay, I need to bring bigger ships in future. So that ship is going to attempt evasive maneuvers and get the fuck out of dodge. And they nail it. So they managed to turn this spin to their advantage and like turn off their engines. And then when they're like facing in the right direction, they gun it and boom, begin flying towards these like asteroids fields and stuff that you couldn't really follow with your huge size. The other ship, obviously in communication with the first, now kind of behind you, just like turns tail and tries to make its way out of here as quickly as possible. And they're going to try and go maximum speed, which they do. So now they're both of them are retreating.
Now that one going towards the asteroids, Lloyd.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to use tracking the stars again to follow where he goes to make berth.
Nice.
So if you want me to make a roll for that now.
Yeah, sure.
See, so 1 degree of success.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see like the track as it like moves through this asteroid field. You can see it doesn't go far before stopping. Like there's a particularly large asteroid, and it like moves behind that and seems to like be orbiting it basically.
Okay, so I'll tell the captain that, Captain, I'm following with my special powers. He's behind that large asteroid waiting. I think he has to make emergency repairs.
Okay. Can we follow him then, or did you say not?
Like you couldn't go through this asteroid. Well,
Right.
I mean you could, but it would be damaging. Like your ship is too big to fit through these like gaps between the asteroids, you know. But you could just like pummel the asteroid field.
I could mark like the specific asteroid for you.
Yeah.
Maybe bombarding that would fuck him up.
Yeah, it's a plan, and they've pissed me off.
So my finger will come up to like a display, and I'll go, I see you. And I'll start moving my finger around in swirls and then stop on a big asteroid and put an X on it, and it'll highlight it on your HUD on the bridge.
Sir, target locked.
Fire everything.
Just fire this ridiculous fucking broadside, hundreds of guns, guns the size of skyscrapers fire at once. And you turn the asteroid field into a debris field. You're pretty sure nothing could have survived that fusillade. This is just like asteroid rocks everywhere, like spinning now in all directions. You can see that there's like heat signatures of like explosions and stuff inside, and you reckon the ship was one of them.
Time to make sure. And I'll do another roll using tracking the stars to see if they're still generating a warp sig. Ooh, that's really good. That's a double 2 degrees of success.
Yeah, so you're tracking it, and you're like watching the trail, and then you have to like look away as there's like a sudden explosion, and that's obviously like their warp core has exploded. They are done for, definitely. There's like a huge, like, and for a second there's like a rift in space as they unwillingly open a warp gate, but then it like can't withstand itself for long and closes.
So I'll yell over the comm. They're down. I see it. Their core exploded and opened a temporary gate.
Excellent.
So,
Well done, Captain.
the other ship continues its desperate escape. It's like behind you now, from where I have you anyway,
Right.
and it's just gunning it in that direction.
Okay, so we should have some, even the smallest sort of register of what that ship was. So if we see it again,
Yeah.
We will finish this later.
So now the ship stands before you, the pilgrim ship, still just giving off its salvation beacon. You can do like a scan to see that there are people inside, pilgrims, it looks like. Yeah, that ship isn't functional at the way it is at the moment.
Yeah, I can't leave it. We've got to do something with it. Repair it as much as possible, or bring people on board if we can.
While these kind of communications are going around the ship, like there's a ship here, whatever, 051778 or Oscillate, a trainee tech priest comes to you, Kenok, and he says, "My lord, Explorator, these organics will do nothing but drain us of resources. Instead of leaving their valuable cargo here, why not strip the ship of its valuable parts and break their biomatter down to replenish our nutrient stock?"
Yes, I will recommend that to the captain. The how many people are we talking about there?
Like 3,000 or 4,000, maybe.
And obviously, before I report to the captain, the status of the ship, it would just take a long time and a lot of resources to repair. I can confirm that in a report. Yeah?
Yes, weeks probably
Mm-hmm.
to get it running again.
And their crew wouldn't really be of any major value on a ship of our type, I presume.
No, so they'd be trained with different. Well, they're not a warship, firstly, so they wouldn't have that kind of training, and they're also trained with like a ship that's a fraction of your size.
Captain, the ship is damaged severely. Repairs would be costly and very time-consuming. Recommend ship be broken down for scrap and salvage. Can use to repair our own ship.
Recommendation, accepted. And
regarding
yes,
organic crew aboard vessel, usefulness non-existent. Recommend recycling for bio-nutrient consumption.
I would remind the Lord Captain that we recently suffered great losses to our crew aboard ship. I'm sure some of them could be of use in that capacity, even if fulfilling just basic duties for those that were lost.
I'm grateful for your presence, gentlemen. You keep me on the straight road. Well suggested. We shall do that.
Perhaps a compromise. We spare the women and bio-paste the men.
I do not understand the Lord Navigator's suggestion. Certainly, the women are even more useless than the men.
Useless? Fertility, engineer. Fertility. We bring them on the ship. Each of them can spawn a whole herd of useful servants. The men, however, bio-paste. He said grimly with a twinkle in his single eye.
Very well. See to it.
And to it is seen the many tendril ships that are part of the Dauntless go over there, and we cut to the people on the ship who are crying in ecstasy that someone has found them and is going to save them. And then those tears from ecstasy turn quickly into despair as from the outside the life systems are shut down, and just bits of the hull are taken off. All the components that are useful to the Dauntless are stripped away as some bodies float into space as others gathered up to be recycled into nutri paste. The pilgrim ship is no more, although who is to say what happened here? Only you.
I will lead the after battle rites, of course, to calm the mechanical spirit, and then also, did we suffer any real damage?
The void shields are down, but that'll just take some time to recharge.
I'll dispatch repair crews anyway immediately.
Yeah. Excellent.
Or inspection crews, barring any necessary repairs.
So yeah, I guess we'll close today's session with you like tearing apart this ship for whatever you can, and dooming 3,000 pilgrims to a grisly grave. So you'll get 500 experience points.
And as the women are being herded off for their repurposing, you'll just see Kenok shake his head and say, the flesh is weak. Oh, I think I chose a great time to lag out there.
No, I heard you. It's all good.
The flesh was weak.
Did it echo, did it?
So, yeah. Thanks for anyone who watched. See you later.